Welcome to Immigration Review, your weekly source for immigration case law updates and insights. I'm your host, Kevin A. Gregg, back again to review the week's presidential immigration cases, rummaging through the decisions so you don't have to. This podcast is sponsored by Kurzban, Tetzeli, and Pratt, also known as KKTP, a law firm where I'm also a partner. Whether you are facing an immigration obstacle, a serious injury, or a legal issue in your business, KKTP will aggressively protect your best interests. This podcast is also sponsored by DocketWise, an all-in-one immigration forms and case management solution trusted by thousands of immigration lawyers across the U.S. I really like DocketWise. It makes immigration applications easy by allowing the clients to provide information through simple online questionnaires that are shareable by text or email and available in multiple languages. Not only that, DocketWise provides a comprehensive group of case management features, including invoicing and calendaring, secure messaging, task management, and a lot more. You can learn all about DocketWise and receive a 10% discount on your subscription by heading to docketwise.com/immigration-review, so they know we sent you. And as always, this show does not constitute legal advice and has no bias other than to keep you up to date and to enable you, my dear colleagues, to excel in court. So, without further ado, let's start the review. The AILA National Conference means the AILA National Special episode of the Immigration Review podcast. At least it did last year, and now this year, and hopefully each year to come. Just before the conference, which sadly I could not attend, I sat down virtually with outgoing AILA National President Farshad Oji and incoming President Kelly Stump. Farshad, of course, in addition to just completing his term as AILA National President, is a partner at WR Global, leading the firm's San Francisco practice and focusing on all aspects of corporate immigration. Kelly J. Stump is the owner of Stump Law and focuses her area of practice in the firm primarily on family-based immigration, complex deportation with an emphasis on criminal immigration matters, and federal litigation in the immigration context. So, that's Farshad and Kelly. Then there's me, all talking together on this wild third rock from the sun that we call home. Pretty deep. The conversation, not nearly as so. But I very much enjoyed it. I hope you do too. Welcome, Kelly and Farshad. Welcome to the Immigration Review podcast. It is June 5th, 2024 at the 5 p.m. hour Pacific Standard Time. How are you both doing tonight?
Great over here in Oklahoma City.
Likewise in San Francisco.
Farshad, this actually makes you the first repeat guest on the Immigration Review podcast. How do you feel about that?
I'm honored and glad to be here.
Honored, yes, precisely. That is the correct answer. You practiced your lines well. And really, it's even more impressive, Farshad, because, as you know, this is not an interview podcast, so to become a repeat guest, I mean, you gotta be pretty special. So yes, congrats to you. And Kelly, I mean, I hope we can get you on next year as well, make you a repeat guest. We'll see how you do right now, though.
Oh, wow. All right, pressure's on.
It really is. And before we get going, I've just got to bring this up. I emailed both of you, Kelly and Farshad, about this before we started recording because I wanted to prepare for the interview and just remind myself where you were from, Kelly. I thought it was Oklahoma, but I just wanted to be sure. And so I Googled Kelly Stump Removal Defense. And so I click on the first thing that comes up, and I think it's Kelly Stump Removal, and I click on it, and actually it's Kelly's Stump Removal. I mean, I click on it, there's images of people getting rid of tree stumps. Kelly, can you comment on this?
Yeah, I wish it was the funniest thing that's happened to me, but it happens on a weekly basis over here. So I don't know how it is where you're from, but in Oklahoma, even when you're just driving down the streets, people have their landscaping signs, and it's always stump removal, or even worse, stump grinding, and phone numbers. And my friends always text pictures, and it's gotten so bad that even the last name Stump just generates naturally where these landscaping catalogs get delivered to me. And so It's entertaining.
It was amazing. But I mean, with the catalogs, I guess, I mean, if you are a stump, you don't need advertising for stump remove. I don't know. I'm sure they have their reasons. And I mean, stump grinding, that's a whole nother can of worms. This is a PG podcast, actually. So I'm not sure how far we can get into stump grinding. But I don't know. I mean, maybe you should embrace it. Change the name of your firm or the Google search to Kelly Stump, removal, and do like immigration stuff and landscaping and just embrace it and be done with it. I don't know. Just spitballing here.
Or, stump grinding. That kind of sounds like a CIMT, doesn't it?
Yes, it absolutely does. Welcome, AILA, your new president, Kelly Stump Grinding. Or Kelly Stump, grinding. I really wasn't going to go for the low-hanging fruit that is your last name, but when that happened, I had no choice.
I've been dealing with it for 43 years, so you're okay.
Good old-fashioned name humor. Before we get into the interview and all that good stuff, I'm not going to be at the AILA conference this year. I had to pull out for personal reasons. I'm pretty bummed about it. I'm sure it's top of the mind for both of you. Are you guys excited? I really hope to be there next year.
Oh my gosh, Kevin, I'm so excited. Chicago is my favorite city in the United States. And so the fact that I get to be the new president of AILA in Chicago, that's just surreal to me.
Whose conference is this, actually? Is this the incoming president's conference, Kelly, or the outgoing president's conference, Farshad?
This is absolutely Kelly's conference.
This is supposed to be Kelly's conference.
I think that Farshad is just so ready to, hand over the reins to me. But, this is a celebration to Farshad's year as well. Mm-hmm. And then the turning over the reins and, oh, how fun. It's a political year. So let's see what I can do.
I fear they're all political years, Kelly. We live in the most political of times. Why Chicago?
So I didn't pick Chicago. That was just an absolute coincidence. But the way that these national conferences work is those are usually worked out around 5 to 7 years in advance. And so AILA headquarters, they start negotiating contracts super early. And I'm not sure when this deal was inked, but they're usually about 5 to 7 years in advance. But I'll tell you what's really cool about Chicago, and this is where I nerd out about AILA. And if you ask me about AILA, I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. I think I'm still drunk on the Kool-Aid of AILA. But my very first AILA conference, I wasn't even an immigration attorney. I was just the kid of an immigration attorney. And my very first AILA national conference was in Chicago in 2000.
Wow. So that's why Chicago.
Well, they didn't pick that for me. I really think it was already inked before I even ran for office.
You guys were supposed to come to San Diego, I believe, a couple of years ago, but COVID killed it. Is AILA coming to San Diego next year?
No. So next year is Denver, and then the year after that is San Diego.
Fantastic. All right, let's get into it. So longtime listeners of the podcast, or quite frankly, anybody who's been in immigration for a bit, probably know a little bit or a lot of it about both of you. And last year on the podcast, on this interview, we learned a lot about your background, Farshad, in addition to Jeremy McKinney's. So I don't want to rehash all of it too much right now, but just want to get an update. I mean, still the same, still from Iran originally, and then went to Turkey, and then eventually came to the United States and flirted with possibly overstaying your visa, but eventually did the right thing without overstaying your visa and returned back to Turkey and then magically won the visa lottery. Still the same background there?
Still valid. I just came back from Turkey for a long trip.
But just an amazing story. I mean, but for the grace of the visa lottery go I. Really go back and listen to that interview. Anyone who hasn't, it is a fascinating story. Farshad's.
Do so.
And get me more downloads. What about you, Kelly? Tell us about yourself, please.
So Kelly Stump, born and bred and raised in Oklahoma, to an immigration attorney. So my father is an immigration attorney. I went to college with the hopes and aspirations of being a news anchor. I wanted to be a reporter, but then I loved my writing classes. I loved my news classes. And one of my professors is like, hey, you should go to law school. My dad was always like, you're going to law school. Go to law school I was going to be anything but an immigration attorney.
Naturally.
And I wanted to be one of those tall building lawyers in Dallas, Texas, doing products liability or products liability defense. And I ended up it was interesting. I ended up in a deposition in Dallas, Texas. And I thought it was so weird that they were calling me into this deposition, but they said, hey, we understand that you speak Spanish. We understand that you know a little bit about immigration law, because I'd been working for my father part-time as well. And then they said, this plaintiff has a really good case. How do we get him deported so he no longer has standing?
Ah, yes, that old strategy.
So I called my father and I said, hey, when can I start work? Get an office ready for me. I don't want to do this anymore.
That's an amazing story. That's a terrible story. I mean, I'm sure that story happens multiple times a year with attorneys who don't make the same decision as you, though.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I know that, and I talked to I have a ton of not immigration friends, but just outside of immigration lawyer friends, and everybody's pretty fascinated about how my office works, because it's really dealing with humans every day, and they say how nice it would be just to go and find the truth and find the facts and work with humans and not worry about the dollar. And I said, oh, well, how nice it would be if I could just deal with the dollar and live in your house and ride in your boat and go on your vacations. But it's I haven't looked back. I love my job. I love my career. I love my clients. I love AILA. I'm 100% genuine when I say all of that. But life is great.
It's awesome to hear, and I'm going to get to Ayla definitely in just a bit. Before I do, Farshad, anything new with you in the last year? I mean, I didn't mean to just summarize your life story like that and point you and put you to your past.
No, no, nothing new. I mean, it's been a challenging year, but I have been blessed and privileged to have Kelly next to me, beside me, and the rest of the XCOM. But no, it's the same old Porsche.
What brought you to Ayla to begin with, Farshad? It's one thing to be an immigration attorney. It doesn't necessarily mean Ayla membership or active in Ayla.
I was thinking about that when I was driving home. Because I was actually going through the presidential commendation list, and then a friend of mine came to mind. She's not really much involved with the AILA in terms of the professional involvement, but she's actually the one that introduced me to AILA. Ning Gan, she's a friend and she's an immigration attorney, very experienced one. And then when I wanted to start practicing immigration, she told me that this is an organization called AILA, and they're very good. A lot of conferences, a lot of hand holdings. They will help you to practice immigration law and learn a lot of stuff. And based on her recommendation, I checked out AILA, and basically my first conference, I fell in love. I said, wow, this is a great organization, because I practiced tax law before, and this just blew me away. It felt like a community. I felt that this is an organization that helps members. Immediately decided to be a part of it and take an active role, and that's exactly what I did.
Well, that's great. And we're happy you did. I want to ask you a bit, Farshad, about your last year, the year that's about to expire at the AILA conference. I've got some follow-up questions after this, but to start, how do you think your term went?
It wasn't as I expected. When you start your term, there are lots of things in your mind that you want to do, and things that you want to achieve. But I don't think it's just like life. It's not going to turn out the way you expect it. I would say challenging climate for the last several months. It's not our organization. Actually, it's been the whole environment everywhere. The world has becoming a dividing place. I had things planned to achieve during my term, but it turned out that my attention had to go to other and not exactly the places I had in mind. which was more about the AI and benefits that we give to the members, etc. But it turned out that we have to do more, pay more attention and be more focused internally about our organization, about the leadership, training, etc.
That makes sense, Farshad. I mean, AILA is a entity comprised of thousands of individuals, and with thousands of individuals come thousands of viewpoints and thousands of issues. And I remember last year when we talked that your goals for your term were more about tech, the website, AI, and I know that AILA has made some progress with AI and this year, quite frankly, it's kind of terrifying. So what still do you think AILA needs to accomplish in those areas of tech and AI at the beginning of AI and law? What was done on them in this last year, and what do you think needs to happen going forward?
Well, we did launch our website, and that has been a great success for our organization. Also, in terms of AI, we have launched that program as a joint venture. I just want us to stay focused there. It is going to be hard because we have the election coming up. It's going to be even more challenging to stay focused. We don't know how it's going to turn out, and I think no matter what happens in the next administration, we still have to keep our eyes on the topic, which is the technology, AI, and how this is going to change and shape the future of our practice.
Kelly, how did Farshad do? And don't worry, I'm fairly confident he's already stopped listening because he's talking in through his phone, so he can't listen and talk at the same time. So feel free to just dish the tea. How did Farshad do?
No, Farshad's been incredible. So we were faced with a lot of controversy this year, and Farshad did such a good job of making sure that the rest of the team, we were all collected, spoke of the team. Some of us are quicker reactors, and this is one thing that is so cool about Farshad. He is just this cool, calm, collected guy all the time. Takes a lot to rattle him. I would say I'm probably on the opposite end of that spectrum. And so Farshad, he can cool all of us, calm all of us until we can come together with the right message. Every single person on XCOM, most of the people, the BOG, we want to do the right thing. We want to move the right directions. It's sometimes just filtering that noise to figure out what those right directions are. And then there's sometimes going to be missteps. We're not always going to get it perfect, but I remember last year working with Farshad, and he constantly says, do not let perfect be the enemy of good. And so he's done a remarkable job this past year, and I have big shoes to fill.
Well, I like the website a lot more and doing terrifying things with AI, to be honest with you.
Yes. So I agree with you. When this was first presented to us, I'm a removal practitioner, so maybe it's narcissistic. I don't know, but I feel like sometimes I invent the law or create the law or make creative arguments. And so I'm like, how is AI going to take that over? Or how are we going to continue to teach new lawyers how to critically think when AI is so readily available for them just to put it into an AI system and find it? But I think that there's a happy medium there, and we can still continue to be the creative thinkers, and we can still continue to teach lawyers how to think on their feet, because we're not going to get AI in the courtroom. But when you talk about time and time management and being able just to pop something in, and then if you're smart enough, to go actually research what that brings out to you and go make sure what the AI says is correct. I really think that it's the future. Think about attorneys before, you and I and Farshad were, like years and years ago when they didn't have email and they were still typing on typewriters, and people were afraid of email and they were afraid of Google. I think if we look at it like that, then this is just going to help us in the future.
I agree, but I've never used it and I'm still a bit scared of it. And just to push back, I wish we didn't have email. Oh, I think email has been a net bad for lawyers and really professionals everywhere. But
definitely a technology addiction, right?
I get one more email that says, if I don't want, if you just want to stop receiving these emails, just reply stop or no thanks. I'm gonna go nuts. Right. And the follow-up, the AI generated follow-up on the follow-up to the follow-up that I never responded to the first time. I'm glad you brought up time management because I'm a bit curious. I'm involved in AILA. I'm on 2 national committees now, kind of new to it. I've been involved in some attempted legislative action recently with AILA as well. We'll see where it goes. Probably nowhere, but it's fun to do it. I can't imagine adding AILA leadership on top of that. What is it, 6 years, 5 years to start at the bottom of elected leadership to then get to the president, all volunteering with controversy all the time because we're all passionate immigration attorneys. Why do you guys do this? Thank you for doing it. Why are you doing it? Kelly, you can go first.
Well, I think that I might be a little psychotic. I don't know. I don't know, Kevin. Like I love it. Okay. It's nerdy, but AILA is my hobby. And let me tell you, I've met the most incredible people in my life, people who not just like I bounce legal ideas off of, but who've become family to me, my friends. And so now I travel to different, I can't name a single state that I don't know someone there and who's not going to tell me where to go eat. And
North Dakota.
okay, there you go. I have a doctor friend from there, so but it's okay. I mean, for lack of a better word, it's just fun. It's fun for me. I'm a nerd. I was a nerd in law school. I loved like reading and studying but at the same time like playing and hanging out with friends, and so I get both of that in AILA. It's fun, and then I love working with other lawyers, and I love CLE, and I hate the fact that immigration, there are so many bad attorneys out there and you see so many people get screwed over all the time. And so it's fun to go out and teach other lawyers just how to like put their foot down and don't let a judge bully them and protect their client for whatever it takes. And that's fun to me.
What about you, Farshad? Why did you get involved in AILA leadership?
Well, for me, the way I look at it is that basically, as Kelly said, it's a family. You want to be a part of it. But most importantly, my personality is that I want to become who I respect and adore. And I have respected every executive committee member in the past and the president. So it's not that I wanted to become the president and say, oh, I'm going to do something better. For me, is that I want to be as good as how they were and how they represented this organization. So for me, was to step up and try to be as good as people that came before me and people who I served with. I have a great respect for every single member of the XCOM now, and I know that they're going to be much better leaders than I was and exceed that.
Kelly is rolling her eyes heavily at your comment about how you weren't very good and everybody else is going to be better than you.
I hope I'm better than him, but
Kelly, I asked this of Jeremy and Farshad last year, but it's a new year. It's an election year. The election is in 5 months. God help us. What is AILA's message on the Hill? What are we selling?
Whew.
Take all the time you need.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's our mission. Just we are advocating for fair and just immigration laws. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Martian. Like, just let's be fair. Let's follow the law. Let's work together and stop, making this about rivalry football where it's Republicans versus Democrats. We just want to see bipartisan leadership and just get something done. Nothing's been done. I mean, laws have been archaic since 1996. I'm not excited about a Biden administration. I can't point to much that administration has done for us. If you look at processing times for I-601A waivers, we're now at 4 years. It's taking almost a year to get an EAD. If you're in removal proceedings, your court date is 7 years out. The other guy, that looks really bad too. He's looking at ways to hinder us on legal immigration and change the laws where states are penalized if they even allow undocumented people to live in their states. So I'm just moving forward with AILA's mission that we are advocating for fair and just immigration laws. Let's figure this out all together. I don't care where you come from. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what God you worship. Let's just work together and figure something out.
So AILA's message on the Hill is fair, comprehensive immigration reform.
Well, I think we've always wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, our message is that let's find the common grounds. Let's work to, and anyone who's willing to work on this issue. We understand it's easy to stay on the sideline and throw stone at the center. We have to be reasonable. We have to find partners in either side that is willing to step up and find solution. That's where we stand.
I got to step back, though, into what Kelly said. She mentioned that everybody is included in the immigration tent, but we have spent years finally getting the ball going on calling people non-citizens rather than aliens. And if we start representing Martians as well, it all goes out the window. We'll see if that joke makes the cut on the edit. But I talked about this too a little bit last year. Last year's recording happening during the conference. We lost some time because the Supreme Court issued its Texas decision. But I believe I asked this of Jeremy and Farshad. Immigration advocates, people advocating for fair immigration reform and fair laws, are losing the narrative, losing the popular narrative. If you compare the views on immigration now to 30, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, there's a lot more people who just say close it all down and nativist instincts. AILA is supposed to be involved in helping push a different immigration narrative. I mean, and of course, it's not all on AILA. It's not even really a lot on AILA, but how do we change this narrative that immigration advocates have been losing for a long time now?
I mean, I think it just comes down to marketing. And I don't know how familiar you are with the council, the American Immigration Council, but they've put a lot of money and time and effort into these marketing campaigns about immigrants and fair and just immigration laws. And I'm sorry, but it's 2024. I mean, we just suffered a massive shutdown of COVID where people, all they did was go online and meet other people. And so in my personal practice, I've now seen more global love and marriages because they talk to people from different countries online, and now they're finally able to go meet people. And that's just the love side of things and the marriage side of things. But then you talk about the economy. So I don't know when people say shut it all down, what they truly know what that means.
No. And you look at the individuals who were killed in the Baltimore bridge fiasco. I believe a lot of them, or if not all of them, were undocumented or certainly immigrants. And the truth doesn't always necessarily matter on changing the narrative.
No, I think the truth always matters on changing the narrative. It's just how do you get people to listen to the truth and feel the truth?
Farshad, how do you get people to listen to the truth and feel the truth?
Well, I believe that AIC is in the right direction. We have to advertise more. We have to show the American people that immigrants are good for America. You have to look at the food that comes to your table. You have to look at the roads that are being built. You have to look at the restaurants, look at the technology, everything that you look at. Immigrants have helped lifting that industry. So it is just important to bring that message to American people so they can see that.
I do want to dive just a bit deeper before we get off this, and neither of you are politicians, so maybe it's not a bit fair. And, Farshad, you and I are both coastal elites, California, which is even the biggest sin. But, Kelly, you're from Oklahoma, right? What's the general view of immigration, like where you live? And if it's not great, how do we change that narrative and that view with the people that predominantly live in your state? How do you speak to them?
Yeah, so I'm from the heartland is what we call it here, Oklahoma. I mean, we are a Bible Belt area. And so without putting religion into it, if you can make it a humanitarian, like religious message instead of, undocumented immigrants and play to the heartstrings of the people from here. I mean, yes, our politics are real murky, but when you get and you talk to the human being behind the politics, you talk to the people, I don't know a single person, even like the craziest right-wing individuals, they always have a guy. They always know a guy. When you say, well, a couple, you know what? Guess what? Everybody else has a guy, and these people are good people. It really, if you can get to the humanitarian aspect of it and the humanity, it does change that dialogue. My people here are great. Oklahomans are loving, welcoming individuals. It's just when they get behind the politics of things is when it gets scary.
It seems like I need to contact AIC and Immigrants List and tell them to do a national campaign about that guy.
Yeah.
Focus on, everybody can agree that you want that guy to stay, and next thing you know, you're at like 10 million people. I mean, jokes aside, one of the issues is that guy needs to stay in the shadows because that guy is scared of getting removed. So you can't. It's hard to tell the story. I guess maybe that's why the DACA people are so persuasive. The DACA people came out and made themselves the center of it and permitted that issue to be humanized. It's hard to do that in a lot with the majority of non-citizens here in this country unlawfully.
It's difficult. And, Oklahoma just passed a law, didn't go to a vote. They just passed it on the floor. And it's an anti-immigrant bill for Oklahoma. So Oklahoma can't deport people from the United States, but they're going to deport them from Oklahoma, which is interesting at best. But when you start talking to the humans behind it, and even the police department, they say this is not a good idea. If we have people hiding in the shadows, they're never going to come forward and report crimes. And so then it's how do we take that message when we get the humans involved and the people involved to then get it back to Congress? Because at the end of the day, nothing's going to change unless our laws change. I mean, if we don't get new visa numbers, if we don't get, add qualifying relatives, add children as qualifying relatives for hardship waivers, for unlawful presence waivers. I mean, there's so much still to be done just for the interior of the United States.
Say goodbye to missed calls and wasted time on unqualified consultations. With Staffy Live, you get a dedicated team of truly bilingual and highly empathetic specialists answering the phones for your immigration law firm 24/7. Staffy Live specialists go beyond just answering calls. They qualify callers by asking the right questions, ensuring that only qualified consultations make it into your calendar. Plus, they don't stop there. Staffy Live can also handle follow-ups, so you can focus on what you do best, practicing law. Staffy Live is a service for immigration law firms only. And here's the best part. You can try Staffy Live absolutely free for 15 days, no strings attached. Just visit www.staffy.cc, that's stafi.cc, and click Get Started. Of course, use the code FREE to claim your free trial, or click on the links in the show notes. Why should immigration attorneys who are AILA adjacent, not involved in AILA yet, get involved, support, and become members of AILA? It's not cheap. Why should they do it? Give us your pitch.
Okay, well, AILA is not expensive. An infinite amount of resources. So go to the website, type something in, great. Go to the member directory, find someone. Better. Go to the mentorship part, sign up for a mentor. Amazing. Get on the listservs. I can't think of a single organization outside of AILA that helps competitors, but we do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, AILA leadership, drinking the Kool-Aid, haven't seen the other side, but I don't know how I would practice if I was never a part of AILA, because who do you talk to? Who do you run these crazy legal theories through? I mean, you are a removal defense practitioner. So how fun is it when we get to talk to people in other states and dissect the language of these statutes. And hey, Kevin, what do you think about this? Hey, hey, Florida friends, I see that nothing's illegal in Florida these days. It's so fun to take that and bounce that off our mentors and our individuals. So, I mean, that is worth, so, okay, I think, and I should know this because I'm got to be the president of AILA, but I think it's about $550 a year.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And not only that, you get a discount on Ira's book and the other books as well.
And there's a lot of free resources as well. Free roundtables, free seminars.
I honestly do not believe that an immigration attorney can practice to the fullest extent without the information and resources that AILA puts out there. There is not a single day that passes that there is not a resource on AILA Aid to help navigate what is going on a daily basis with the administration, with the practice, with the trends, or things that the members should know. A website is down. A mail is not getting to the right place. You take it. I mean, anything that happens, it's immediately on our radar, and we provide and disseminate the information to our members. So I really challenge anyone that says that they're meaningfully practicing immigration law and that's their only line that they do, and they can do it without AILA's help and the resources that AILA puts there. And we are not expensive. When we did the restructuring a couple of years ago, we did honestly restructure it. We took some of the dues down and some of them up. So it's balanced. For instance, a member in the first year pays $216 for 1 year of getting tremendous amount of information. Honestly, one of my dreams is that when I retire from XCOM, it's just use the resources, read the resources and things that we out there. That's just my fantasy. I have enough time to really go through everything that is out there on a daily basis.
I like the daily emails. It's important information. It's not just spamming me. It's actually important information from AILA. I like the fact that there is an advocacy entity that actually speaks for immigration attorneys, because it's a battle out there, especially in immigration right now, to advocate for immigration attorneys and the non-citizens we represent. But I guess a bit even nerdier, I really like the message board. I actually never ask a question on the message board. There are the Facebook groups too. I rarely ask that either. I'm blessed that I'm in a firm where I can bounce it off colleagues, and I know not everybody has that. But the control find function, not the control find, the search function in the message board, and you see the people who are very established immigration attorneys who have answered this over the years. And you start seeing their name over and over again, and you realize that you can trust this person, and you can trust that answer on what is always just the weirdest procedural question or something that's driving you insane. The message board is like my last resort, and it almost always delivers. We're getting towards the end here, but on to AILA in general. I was blessed to be coming up in Ira's firm, and I mean, Ira is AILA in a lot of ways. He's been doing it for so long, he's got the book. But even me, it feels a little intimidating sometimes to get involved into AILA National or even an AILA chapter. And for a couple of years, at least from my experience, it can feel like you're the odd person looking in. And, at the conference is great in making people feel welcome and saying, like, is this your first conference? And having all of those things. But nevertheless, what advice could you give to newer attorneys or older attorneys new to AILA to quickly get involved in AILA National and to feel welcome? What would you do if that was you, Kelly?
Well, it's what I did. So I just did it. I embraced the awkwardness and threw myself into the room. I mean, I feel like most AILA members are welcoming and inviting, but also I was probably the annoying person in the room that just insisted on being there anyway. The best way, if you want to get involved nationally, is to start out with your chapter, because that you put in the hard work through the chapter and do the work, do the research. National is going to notice that very fast. I mean, we are desperate for cultivating leadership. I'm tired of seeing the same people in the same spots in the room every single year. So I'm constantly, they got my eye out at these conferences and that I go to, looking at, okay, who's doing the work? Who knows what's going on? I mean, Kevin, that's how I met you. I met you at the Miami conference. I think it was 2 years ago. Like, who is this guy? What does he know? And then shout out to Brianna Carey, who's probably listening, used to be an associate of mine. And she's like, you don't know who Kevin Gregg is. You don't listen to his podcast. Oh my gosh, he's so smart.
Oh, that's just the best. Can you say, I'm not sure we picked that up. Can you say that again? Actually, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Wait, no.
All right, Kevin. But I mean, it's people like you. I mean, you're fairly new to the room, and
Yep.
I mean, you've kind of done your own thing and just make yourself noticeable. But we'll notice you as well. Do the work, go meet people, go shake hands, find your people, and we're excited to have you. I mean, it's by the way, it's not paid. It's free work. So if you want to
No.
get involved in AILA, you don't get paid.
How did you do it, Farshad? What would you recommend for a newer attorney?
I mean, for newer attorneys, it's just to show up and do the work. That's what exactly I did. I mean, I remember I called Bob Deasy years ago, and I told him that, I love this organization and I want to be involved. And he said that it's the best to start with your chapter, get involved in your chapter and start doing liaison. And before you know it, you will be recognized by the national. And that's exactly what I did. I did almost all of the liaisons in my local chapter in Northern California. And then I became a chapter chair. And from there, the Board of Governors member, and then and after that, executive committee. Now, as Kelly said, you will get noticed. What happened is that once I remember I sent a management consultant letter to Leslie, one of our past presidents, and I love and respect a lot. And I asked her to review it and make comments. And she called me back and she said, Farshad, this is fantastic. And I want you to get involved with the CBP. So she actually put me on a CBP national liaison. So yeah, if you do the work, you will get noticed and you will picked up for the work if you're ready and willing to do it. Other than that, something that we have integrated in our leadership selection is that every year, when is it, Kelly? Is it is February that we announce?
Yes. So January, February of every year is when we do what's called a call for volunteers.
Yeah, big call for volunteers. Let's just be on the lookout for that email. And basically put your demographics, your interests, things that you have done, and then your area of interest. And every incoming president will go through an excruciating level of review to select over 700 people on all the national committees. So that's the way to do it.
And I'm very proud and happy to report that this year we slated over 150 individuals who've never been picked for a committee before, because that was one of the things this year we were looking for, is like new blood, new volunteers on the national level. And so that was pretty exciting.
Well, like I said, Kelly, and Farshad, it's June 5th. The conference is next week. I got to edit this thing. And I got a lot to do now and this weekend. It probably won't drop before the conference. And so if it doesn't, I wish you guys nothing but a fantastic conference. And I really wish I was there to see everybody again and to be with everybody. But, Kelly, as this is the beginning to your year, this is the Kelly Stump era, if I can be so bold. Is there anything else you'd like to say that we didn't touch that you want to talk about right now? You got the mic, you got the floor, you got the pod.
I mean, I know that I'm at the captain's seat or driving the boat, but this is definitely not the Kelly Stump era. This is the AILA era, because it's time to unite and get this organization committed to figuring out how we're going to move this future. Like I said, the elections are scary, but if we can get these 17,000 members united, that's going to be a hell of a force to deal with.
Can I be so bold? 2024, 2025 term, stump grinding.
Hopefully it's stump grinding and not stump removal.
Right. That's why we got to remember that joke for this interview next year. That's going to be perfect. I can't wait. Thank you for humoring me. And thank you both for making time to come on the podcast tonight. I really wish you both the best of luck. Farshad, as you go into your year as president, whatever pro tempore or whatever the Latin term for the old president guy in the room is, congratulations on a year. Well done. And Kelly, congratulations on your upcoming year. Again, I wish you both a fantastic conference.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
So there you have it. I'm Kevin A. Gregg, a partner with the law firm Kurzban, Tetzeli, and Pratt, and this has been another episode of Immigration Review. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share it with a friend and rate and review us. Each review helps new listeners find the show. And of course, subscribe to Immigration Review wherever you get your podcasts. If you like what we do and want to become a patron of the show, please check out our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Immigration Review or click on the link in the show notes. And if you're interested in an official Immigration Review CLE certificate, email me at kgreg@kktplaw.com with your full name and the episode numbers for the 10 shows you've listened to. Also, feel free to email me with questions, comments, or anything at all, and follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at Immigration Review, or send us a tweet at ImReview. That's IMM Review. I'll be back next Monday for a brand new discussion. Until then, I'm Kevin A. Gregg, bringing you the Immigration Review.